I think she
You know,
went.
there's an interesting.
Uh, I think she's
What?
eating dinner.
Go ahead, Don.
I think she is
Okay.
eating dinner, but she'll be
Alan,
back.
there's an interesting thing. Do you ever read the Superman comics? Do you know what Superman's actual name on Krypton was?
He's muted.
Kal-El.
Kal-El.
He's. You're muted, Alan.
You're muted, Alan.
There you go.
How did I do that?
I don't know how you did that.
I think it's when I unplugged it, it automatically mutes.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah.
But I was for teaching, right?
We can't hear you.
Your microphone is not working well. The one, whatever one you're using.
Well, I think when I
That's
take
better.
the headphones off, I have to take the headphones off so everybody else can hear. So I got to yell at you, I guess. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, that's
Kind
much
of,
better.
All right.
Did you hear Don's
the point I
comment?
was making?
The one guy
Superman.
from
His name on
Superman.
Krypton was originally Kal-El.
Okay. How was that?
He was a bad guy. Kind of a Nimrod kind of a guy. The guy on
Yeah.
Superman.
Superman. Yeah, the guy with the big S on his chest. His name was Kal-El. Oh well.
Well, I get it.
I got it, Don.
Just an interesting side note.
Very interesting.
Kal-El. That's the Hebrew word. It's bad. It's unbelievable.
It is.
Damn it! You just ruined the Superman comic book for me, Don.
Mom, can I get you? Are you hungry?
Well, that explains why he was such a bad guy.
Right.
Yeah.
He had a name that he lived up to. Kal-El, the guy,
Yeah, good old Nimrod.
the bad guy on who was opposing Superman. Superman's enemy.
So there's another interesting thing I found. When you were talking about Cain, when he was born, Eve said, "Behold, I have received a man of the Lord." She thought Cain was going to be the deliverer, the Messiah.
Yeah, that's.
Turns out he's the first murderer.
He turned out being the first murderer. Yeah.
Similar what happens in Revelation. They're going to think their Messiah has come when Satan is manifested.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, he'll be their real good friend.
Yeah.
Initially.
It has something in it
For about
also.
for about 3.5 years.
Let's see. Nimrod, there we go. All right, screen sharing. share this. We do that screen sharing deal again. Our screen share. And this is what Gulliver had to say about Nimrod. And look at the very bottom. This is the appendix. Nimrod was the founder of Babylon, which partook of his character as being the great antagonist of God's truth and God's people. We cannot fail to see in Nimrod Satan's first attempt to raise up a human universal ruler of men. There have been many subsequent attempts such as Nebuchadnezzar, Alexander, Napoleon, and others. He will finally succeed in the person of the Antichrist. That's wild, isn't it?
Alan,
Yes, ma'am.
you're not coming in clear, and I really want to hear what you're having to say.
I'm sorry, repeat.
Your microphone sucks. I translate for Dana.
Well, the only problem is, let me make sure it's working properly.
Yeah, you're up and clear.
The only problem is when I put my headphones on, my mother can't hear you guys.
Oh.
Anyway, okay, did you hear what I said? I will read that to you again.
Please.
Please.
Okay. This is appendix. This is the appendix 28 of the Companion Bible, and this is what Bullinger had to say about Nimrod. Nimrod was the founder of Babylon, which partook of his character as being the great antagonist of God's truth and God's people. We cannot fail to see in Nimrod Satan's first attempt to raise up a human universal ruler of men. There have been many subsequent attempts, such as Nebuchadnezzar, Alexander, Napoleon, and others. He will finally succeed in the person of the Antichrist. Wild, isn't it?
Yep.
I am. This whole drama of redemption, it gets more and more fascinating the more I get into and study these things. It just gets absolutely fascinating.
Have you watched Bob Wassong's Sons and the Sons of God?
Oh, I am so far behind on Bob Wassong.
With what you're studying here, especially concerning the dividing of the nations in Babylon, Alan, I highly recommend that, because he goes into the spiritual significance of the 70 sons of God that are mentioned in Deuteronomy chapter 32, and how God divided the nations up amongst those angelic sons. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, I think you would find that very, very interesting.
Cool.
Oh, I don't want to get too far out there just yet. I'm trying just to get I'm trying to get through the book of Romans here, and I'm in verse 18 and 19.
I'll tell you what,
Every time I get into a section like this, there is so much depth that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, but what you revealed with the revealing from his wrath being revealed from heaven, and then going back to show in Genesis how that was so, was just beautiful. And it came across very concise. I mean, you really lit my wires. I mean, I'm charged, dude. I mean, I'm really, really impressed.
Wow, thank you. That that means a whole lot to me to hear that. Wow.
Speaker.
What was that?
I said, you're a very good speaker. You have a lot of knowledge. And so you are getting the word out there, hon.
Well, I got her fooled.
Just keep the shirt straight.
I am embarrassed at how much knowledge of the Bible I have, but how very little that I do with it. And I think that's what really is getting me a lot lately, because I have known a lot of this book of Romans, but it's only been recently where I've really started to put it into practice, and I'm only touching at it. I wished I could do it every moment of the day, but I am so undisciplined and so scatterbrained that it is a challenge to put the doctrine of the book of Romans into practice every minute of the day. It is. I can't say it's impossible. I know it is possible, but it's a challenge.
Well, I think you're kind of beating yourself up there in that old man shit. So I think you just might as well let that Christ in you shine, because, brother, you're shining really good.
Are you heading upstairs, Mom?
I hope so.
Okay.
I don't know whether I can get out.
All right. Well, the light's off. Let me get the cord out of the way. And the cat.
Tell your mom we all love her. Alan?
Huh?
Tell your mom we all send our love.
Mom, they say they're sending their love to you. Here, let me.
Okay.
Oh, she can't hear it. She's got an earphone. She has an earpiece.
Kitty wants out. Kitty.
Yeah, you could let him out. I'll let him out if you. Okay.
You want out? You want to get outside?
Okay, sorry about that. That was fun. I did not think I would get it done so well, because the last Tuesday I felt like I was under time pressure. I was distracted with things. Tonight it was a little bit easier because I don't know why. I was anyway. Yeah, I kind of felt energized too. I wished I could do that every time.
I think maybe when you started out, you just kind of laid your heart out, and then got into your teaching, and it kind of must have relaxed you and got your mind all focused on what you were going to say, because it was awesome. Awesome.
Wow.
Mm.
Alan, so far have you gotten to the point where it seems like when it talks about God's wrath against some individual, not just against man, but some individual, that those people are somehow even more evil than everybody else around?
I kind of lost your question there.
Okay, when it talks about how God was wroth against Cain, for instance, it seems to me like, just from this cursory look we had at it, that those people are somehow more evil even than the regular people, or the regular, they're just somehow on a, I don't even know how to say it.
Like the head evil person.
Yeah. Well,
like the head evil person.
This is the way that I have been trying to understand it in my mind. In the Old Testament, they didn't have the old nature and the new nature. They only have the original nature that they inherited from Adam. And when Adam sinned, it was a knowledge it was a knowledge of good and evil. And I don't understand the details of all of that, but what I do know is everything before the fall was good, was only good. There was no evil at all. But now they have access to information, knowledge of both good and evil. And I believe John explained it, Lynn, explained it better in the class than I can. We have kind of built into us a natural ability to choose good and evil. And I wished I could remember exactly how he said that, but we can choose to do good, or we can choose to do evil. And it seems to me, once we start down the evil side, I mean, it's a slippery slope, because you just keep on, there's no way out of it. You get down and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And it got so bad that by the time they got to Genesis 6, their thoughts and their intents were only evil continually. And that it got so bad that everybody, well, except for Noah, oh, and this is interesting. Noah found grace. Have you ever thought about how God said that way? That Noah found God's favor. That tells me that he was searching. Noah was searching because he found grace. You ever thought about that before? That reminds me of the that verse in Hebrews where Enoch, he diligently seeking God. I don't have that. That's embarrassing. I don't have that. But without faith, it's impossible to please him. For in order to please him, we must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. And it's interesting that God put it that way, because Noah was searching. It wasn't just he found grace. So that tells me he was searching for it. So anyway.
just to build on what Don asked, and I think is relevant too, is because I was starting to take that Romans 18 scripture to be talking about the people that suppress the truth, that know, and I always did relate that to Genesis the way that you showed it. However, I was starting to see that as evil people in this world, but when you taught it today, I saw something more clear than I've ever seen before, even though, like what you just pointed out, which I think is brilliant, that when there are people that get more and more and more evil, and to the point to where they do continually, they exist today. But there's also those people like Noah that are searching out for the truth, and that is found in God's Word. And we're all, even Christians with that old nature, Paul goes on in the book of Romans to declare, first he gets down on them Gentiles, and I love the way he does that, because them Gentiles, they're all nasty, and they were doing all this bad stuff and everything else, and just when them Jews were going, yeah, them nasty Gentiles, yeah, them nasty Gentiles, Paul slams the Jews to make sure that they understand that all of mankind is under the slavery, the bondage of sin. And by our freedom of will, and that, Dawn, I think this is what you were trying to point out, definitely that can be talking about the evil people that are continuously, they make it their life to suppress the truth because they're out there. But we're all, our nature, by nature of Adam, we're all under that category of being capable of doing that. And I think that that was really well spoken of, at least to my heart.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, there's a verse. It's in Genesis. I can't remember where exactly. But this guy said, look at what God did to Cain because he killed one. Well, I've killed hundreds.
Oh yeah, that's Lamech.
It's like it's a competition to get to be the most evil.
That was Lamech. Yeah.
Yeah, I put a post in Facebook today with all this stuff, and my thought was all of these riots that are going on the East Coast right now. But I put a post in Facebook that says, as long if you.
Oh, it's upstairs. Excuse me, y'all. I'll be right back. Let me help Mama get upstairs. I'll be right back.
You will have plenty of evil to excuse, and that's what we do, and that's what Romans teaches. We don't. Man has always been without an excuse of knowing God because of the nature of all of creation. But boy, when you talk about the nature the Christian has been given with Christ in them, we really have an accountability to be held to too, as far as not seeking after that old man nature. I mean, like I said, he encouraged the daylights out of me. Dang it! Now I got to go to work again.
Yeah.
What was for dinner, Miss Higgins?
Oh, just hot dogs and bacon. That's,
Yes.
we're nearing the end of the month and our cupboards are bare. So we're like, what do we have? And we had hot
Been
dogs.
there, done that.
Yeah, no buns. What was it? No bun. I mean, like, we're getting to the point where we were like, this is when I really start to feel poor, is when even all the condiments are out of the refrigerator and no condiments are backed up in the pantry. Like, that's when I start to feel like, wow, like, no mustard, no ketchup, no mayonnaise, no ranch. You know, like, when those little condiments are not available in the house, that's when I really feel like we have nothing to eat. Like, we like ate it all. Anyways, but that hot dog tastes very good. Yeah.
Did you burn them on the grill?
No. No. Hubby did the hot dogs and the bacon and.
Cook them on the grill. The hot dogs.
No, just on the stove.
I remember a couple times living on peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, I'm thinking, like, it doesn't matter. I mean, like, every time I start to think, like, I have no food, I just tell myself I'm so freaking spoiled for thinking I have no food. Like, because even though I have no food according to my spoiled self-standards, you know, American standards, you know, I still look in the cupboards and there's still pasta. I mean, you may not have all the stuff that you want to put with the pasta, but it doesn't matter. It's still pasta that you can cook, and that's food in your belly. Like, I don't know. It's just, there's still so much that we have in our cupboards. It's just our spoiled American selves thinks, oh, I don't have, you know, like, I don't have all my extras, you know, like my cheese and sauces. I don't have all that. Oh, what am I going to do? And, oh, man. But, you know, I also like not having as much food. I'll just say as much food. I like not having the food that I would normally eat in the house, actually, because then it helps me lose some weight. Yeah. At the end of the month, I get to lose weight. Woohoo! It disciplines me. I'm telling you, I just think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how poor you get. You always have that positive outlook, you know. Always sunshine. Sunshine. I'm really tired though. How about you
Yeah, me
guys?
too.
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird day here.
Oh yeah.
Had a good day at work, but just a little low on the energy scale.
Oh, no. Sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful with wearing the hat, but I didn't want to put on makeup, and I don't mind you guys seeing my naked face, but I'm too embarrassed of my forehead. The forehead is the part that has the psoriasis on it, so you know me, I'm always paranoid about that. Don't care
That's
about
okay.
makeup,
You're
but I care
fine.
about my forehead.
You're fine.
You can't see my forehead. I would show it if it wasn't live. Like if we weren't live and everybody can see it in the whole world.
Well, we'll stop the broadcast at some point, and then you can show it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I get to see Chandra's psoriasis. Yes.
Oh my.
Well, you know, I mean, I used to have a whole bunch. I mean, I used to have my arm covered in psoriasis, so that part got cleared up. I mean, there's a little bit, so you can see that. That's psoriasis right there. But it used to be like it's starting to come back, is what it is. But yeah, that wasn't there before. Like it's cleared up a lot. At least my arms are. It's starting to come back on this. See right there. That's big.
Mhm.
It's starting to come back right there. But it actually used to be bigger than that. It used to be like covering like my whole arm right there. It was bad. So it's just starting to come back. I need to be disciplined and put on that medicine that helped to get it off before. So
Yep.
I just need to be disciplined and keep putting it on. It's just this green stuff that like I have to like know when I'm like I can't put clothes on it because then the green stuff will get on the clothes. But then if I have to go out and run errands, I'm like, oh, I don't want to put on the green stuff now.
So it's a timing thing.
Yeah, it's a timing thing, and then it's a
Which requires planning.
like
Timing thing, which requires planning.
timing, planning, memory. Sometimes it's my memory loss. Like, oh, I forgot. Oh well. So, yeah.
You have really nice clothes and things, so find a green that matches your medicine, and that's
There
the
you go.
shirt you wear.
She's going green.
That's a really good. That's a really good suggestion. I don't. It's like I think I have like one green shirt. I don't have
Black
one.
always works, and you know you have such a beautiful face and personality. I really wouldn't worry about the spots that God is healing.
Aw, I love you, Dana.
Love you too, Sissy.
Did you get to watch any of Alan's teaching?
I was like trying to figure out why I couldn't get an invite link. I couldn't hear all of his teaching, so I'm sorry, Alan.
I highly recommend it this week somewhere. I highly. A matter of fact, I'm going to be all over Dawn's hind end to get this thing edited because I want to post it. I want it out there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, see, the first problem is I can't even touch it till tomorrow because it's processing.
Yeah.
As soon as I turn it off, it takes a while for it to process.
All
If you
over
try
your
and do it
hind
too
end,
early,
Don't want to lose
I
it.
work on it
You
as
remi-
soon as it's
Mike,
ready.
you remind me of me. I have been foreman and supervisor on the construction site for a number of years, and you remind me of me as a supervisor or foreman.
I'll have to evaluate that comment, whether that was a compliment.
Hey, how come I I didn't
Of
get
course,
an
we're both
invite.
construction workers, aren't we? You're electrician and I'm a drywaller, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And doesn't the electricians and the drywallers always in conflict?
Always. You always cover up the wall before I got my boxes in.
That look on Deanna's face was like, what?
Chandra, I sent you 3 invites.
Did you really?
Oh.
What is up with that? Yeah, I see 19 notifications right now, but I'm not seeing you being one of them. But even before that, though, I mean, I was looking everywhere for an invite. Oh, sorry, I guess not. I didn't scroll down far enough. Apparently, there's Chamberlain joined a video call. There you are. Okay, there you are.
Talk about you like 10 minutes before it starts. Chandra coming on. Is that you, Chandra? All your brothers are out there calling for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was even like,
actually,
usually I see the green thingy like in the chat box area. Like usually that's like bright green and it shows me all of your faces that are in the call, and that's usually what I see. And so I didn't see that, and then I didn't see anything in my notifications at the time. And then I'm like trying to type to everybody, Michael and and John, and I was like, "Where's my invite? Where's my invite? Where's my?" And nobody's responding to me, and I'm like, "What's going on?" I'm like, why is everybody?
Hey, Alan was teaching some hot Bible. We were listening.
No, I mean it was beforehand at first. Well, I was just contacting Don Chamberlain at first, and like before it started, and then once he didn't respond to me, I was like, oh, okay, he's just probably busy or something, or maybe technical difficulties. But then I tried like contacting Michael. Maybe he would like get my message or something. And he didn't respond. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's screen sharing. He's busy and he doesn't see it. And plus, he didn't look online. And then, so Don Colt was the only one who finally responded to me. I was like, okay, at least I'm being responded to. I was like worried for a while. I'm like, am I getting the cold shoulder for some reason? What's going on?
No, I sent you 3 invites.
Oh,
I
man.
called your house or
You
your
called my
phone.
house even?
Oh yeah, he did.
The only phone
called you.
call that I heard was from Steven's mom or something, but I didn't. That's so weird. Maybe he tried calling while he was on the phone with his mom.
Oh, I was going to ask something. During my teaching, I mentioned something about secular and religious.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Now, I have no proof of this, but I am only assuming that during the days of the Apostle Paul and so forth, that people in general were more religious than they were secular than it is today, where people are more, in general, more secular than they are religious.
I don't think there's any difference, Alan.
You don't think there's any difference?
I thought about that when you said it. I think you have the religion today of religion of science. The religion.
That's right. But see,
that.
I'm thinking that's more secular than religious.
But it's not with those people. When they get. You can tell when you're dealing with religious people, because when you're confronting them with truth, they attack. They get violent. They get mean, because you're attacking their religion, whatever that religion might be. Might be the religion of shopping at, what's that, for the Gap. I don't know. The Gap might be the religion, but those are religions. Those are things that are placed above everything else, and that's their god, the god of dress, or the god of appearance, or the god of science, or
Right.
It's a real big deal in this country today, because you have and
Beauty, brains, and bucks.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
that's the class.
Agencies
One day with the Creator.
teaching things and are propounding things that they have no basis on fact on, because they're worshiping their God. I mean, literally. And their God is whatever that thing is. The idol.
When you were teaching that particular section, when he was teaching that section, my mind immediately went to all these Christians who get too involved with politics. I mean, it's like God
That's like
becomes
politics is a
secondary
religion
to
itself.
politics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's a religion in itself. I am of the religion of the Republican Party or the Democratic Party or the.
Right.
I mean, that's what it gets to be, because it elevates itself above the truth.
I don't understand. Why don't they have a Christian party? I don't get that. Like, why not?
Yeah, I agree with Chandra,
I'm
excuse
sure
me.
they do. The only two parties you hear about are the Republicans and Democrats. Sometimes you hear about, what's that other,
There's the Green Party,
Mm-hmm.
right?
There's the Green Party, and the,
There's several. Socialist Party,
Socialist, and
Communist Party. Those are all on the left side.
yeah,
I just don't understand. Why
I'm
isn't
sure there's a Christian.
Tea Party.
the Tea Party?
Tea
Yeah.
Party.
And I don't think, from what I've seen, is that no matter what you bring up in this age, the thing is capable of being corrupted. And it usually does, because the thing becomes more important than the truth. The vehicle of the truth becomes more important than the truth, and you don't have any truth anymore. Even with the law, as pure as the law was given by Moses for man's good, they elevated the ordinance of the law above the heart of God's love for his man. And so whatever's brought up in this administration, it's going to take one heck of a man to make the world keep God first above everything. And I think his name is Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's funny, they were talking about how after the fall of communism, that the communists basically all became environmentalists, and the environmentalist movement has its basic roots in witchcraft.
Yeah, Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Mother Earth.
Oh,
And,
I had never thought of that. Wow, that's interesting.
It's all still here the same way it was in Babylon.
And that's what they're trying to head towards now, the world government.
I thought I was getting taken over by Muslims.
They are the aggressors at the moment.
I'm just saying.
Mhm.
I'm not being a hater. I'm just saying. It just seems like.
Yeah, well, there's more than one. There's more than one area of attack that the adversary is using.
I mean, yeah, everything's getting played now. There's the religious card. The whole. I mean, that's just something to talk about right there as far as the Muslims. But then there's the racist card. Like with what's going on there, with all the black folk getting really angry and hating people that are white or whatever. I don't know. And my husband keeps up on this stuff. He saw an article of some university where a black person was saying he is a terrorist against white people or something. And I don't know. There's just a whole bunch of things that my husband is finding. I don't like to hear about it, but at the same time, he tries to not tell me as much as he'd like to, but but every once in a while, like, I'll hear these little things, and it makes me so sad that, like, wow, I know we had something. I know that there was horrible things happening in third world countries, but it's so sad to think that these horrible things are happening right here, like where I live in the United States. You know, it's just, I am very grateful that I can, I live in a tiny town and I can still, my kids can still walk to school, but with all the stuff that's happening out there in the world, I don't know how much longer that can happen. Like, how much longer can my kids walk to school without me being worried about somebody shooting them or, you know, like punching them for no reason, torturing them, or, you know, just, like, the reason why I brought that up is because, yeah, I mean, just the political, the religion, the racism. I mean, I'm almost thinking that is a form of religion. To be racist against, to be like the KKK, wasn't that like a religion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They said they were based in
they were using the Bible. They were using Jesus Christ
Yeah.
as their. Yeah, they took that and corrupted it really good.
Well,
Really
yeah,
bad.
now
Bad.
what is it? What are they called? What are the? I forgot, the Panthers or something, or I forgot what they were
Black Panthers.
called. There was the Black Panthers, and then it's not.
The Brotherhood.
Is it
Muslim
ISIS or
Brotherhood.
is that something else? I don't know, but anyways, but yeah, it's like they don't even have the Bible, so it's like, but it doesn't mean you don't have to have a Bible in order to make a religion out of something. But it's just kind of like now there's a religion against white people apparently, and it's scary. It's scary to me anyways, just because I don't know. It's like I would never want anybody to look at just one. I wouldn't want anybody to look at like this pool of butt heads of white people and think, oh, all the white people are butt heads because this group of white people are butt heads, and the other way around. I wouldn't want, you know, white people thinking all black people are butt heads because this pool of black people are butt heads. Like, I don't know. It's just sad though. I feel bad. I mean,
They're
I mean,
just looking for an excuse to
yeah.
unleash their evilness, and
Yeah.
that's just one that's real easy to use. You know, a lot of the crime is not one race against another; it's one race against its own race. You know, I mean, it's just evil trying to find a path to manifest itself.
Hey, I'm
And
trying
that's
to get a
that's
bumper
good
sticker.
one.
One
Yeah.
bumper sticker. Continue to excuse evil. Soon you will have more evil than you can excuse. That's my saying for the day.
There you go.
Continue to excuse evil. Soon you will have more evil than you can excuse.
That's good.
Yeah, I put it on Facebook. I was just watching all the stuff that Chandra was talking about in the news and everything that's going on, and I'm thinking, you know, we're continuing to excuse evil, and pretty soon you have more evil than you can excuse, and that's that's the course.
I can
That's why
relate to that, and I've been there.
Yeah, right.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and it is a slippery slope. All you got to do is compromise just a little bit on the truth, and pretty soon you get enslaved by it.
If I knew I wasn't gonna get hurt, like if I knew I was safe, I would honestly want to talk to. I mean, I would honestly want to ask questions to these people that are, you know, racist like they are, or, you know, like, well, I mean, especially a black person. Like, I would want to like talk to them, like, seriously, like, why, okay, you know, just as long as they're like tied up or something, so I know they're okay for tomorrow. Like, I'd just be like, why do you hate me? Like, you know, why do you hate me just because I'm white? Like, I just want to know this. And I mean, I would really be curious to question that type of a person just because I'm really.
But that's not our job. Our job is.
It's not our job. That's just me being curious. Like,
Seriously, though, from a biblical perspective, we're the only thing that is standing in the way of this stuff completely going out of wire. I mean, it's, I mean, he who
Amen.
now lets will let until he be taken out of the way. We're the only thing standing in the way of a very, very evil, turbulent age. And that's what we're trying to rescue people out of. That's what Thessalonians says. It says that, I mean, we're the ones standing in the way. The Spirit of Christ in the Christians are the only thing that is keeping things reasonable because of reason.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, I have
That's why I think.
I haven't. Are we about to close out? I have another question.
No, I was.
And it was referring to Noah. You remember the word kalal? And after the flood and so forth, Noah had like a vineyard or something like that. Maybe I should share my screen on that. But he also kalal.
Yeah, drinking. Remember when he got drunk and his son seduced his mother?
Okay, now see, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there.
It was a. I mean, Noah liked to hit the grapes. He did. I mean, it was a corrupted thing, and I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, you know, I've drank before, and I still have an occasional nice drink, and I don't. Okay, when I drink, I usually am celebrating something, and I drink, but I know what it is to drink because of pressure. I mean, and I cannot imagine the pressure on that man. He was living in a time when people were continually sinning, and he was searching out righteousness. I can't imagine the pressure. And then after the flood, it's you and the boys and the wife. I mean, I can't imagine the mental pressure of receiving the revelation from God that I'm choosing you to start it all over again. I can't. I guarantee you, I'd be enjoying those vodka martinis a lot more than I do now if that was my responsibility. But I think that's what it has to do with, because of the association with the vineyard, the association of fermented drinks, and the result of it after the flood, and the evil that it caused, because he wasn't in his right senses, obviously, when his son Shem looked on his mother's naked, or Ham looked on his mother's nakedness. He basically had sex with his mother, and Noah wasn't alert enough to.
I didn't see that. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Do you know how I can?
The Levitical law, in the Levitical law, it says that you shall not look on the nakedness of your father, which is your mother. You shall not look on the nakedness of your sister. It's a sexual condemnation, and it describes it in the Levitical law. It says the nakedness of your father is your mother. The nakedness of your brother is his wife. You don't go after your brother's wife.
Oh, okay. Now that fits together. Okay, I see that now. I see. I couldn't quite put those two together. Yeah. Okay. Great. It's nice to know. That you know the word as a whole, and that Levitical law and thing fits with that. So I didn't see that. Okay. Now that starts to make sense.
I love that. See, that's why I love this fellowship. Just because people aren't the humility of you being able to say, yeah, I didn't see that. All right, yeah, that's cool. You know, like the environment of being able to, yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Instead of being like, rawr.
Well, that's why when I started my teaching, I started with there in Hebrews, where searching for. We are on a quest for the truth. You know, I am willing to take my inventory of believing and go through it and pull out the error, I am willing to do that because I am a truth seeker. And sometimes even with TLTF, a lot of the information that TLTF that I'm having to go through my own inventory and such, I discover error, and sometimes I have to put it in neutral until I can get back and work it. I am aware of the error, but I have to go back and work it because there's just loose ends that need to be taken care of. And boy, there's one that I was a huge change in my believing, and that is when I used to believe in John 3, if you remember that, I believed that Jesus was teaching the new birth. And I believed that all the way up until I was taught in the One Day with the Creator about that sacred secret, that new birth could not be revealed, any little inkling of it. So
you know what makes that so hard, Alan? Because there's not a significant difference between what Israel will have in the resurrection and what we have today. The significant difference is what you taught on today. Nobody saw that birth coming into this corrupt nature in the very midst. And I was studying something the other day, and I'll probably teach on fellowship tomorrow night. But what better representatives of God's grace and mercy than us, His children, who lived in this time when we dealt with that new birth and that corrupt nature simultaneously? What better beings to be able to relate the heart of God's love than what He showed us in the midst of this corruption? I mean, I really am digging into that, and it's really fascinating me as to what I find in the mystery and the secret concerning we are to be on display in the ages to come, it says in Ephesians. That's part of our hope. We're going to be a display of God's grace and mercy in the ages to come. What better beings than nobody has ever been. Israel, when they're raised from the dead, they're going to be all new nature. They're not going to be any, I mean, there's not going to be any, they're not going to have their sin nature anymore. Just like when we're gathered together, we're not going to have our sin nature anymore. But to have these things simultaneously, to be able to show the difference between good and evil and have an understanding the way we do is totally awesome. God's wisdom is off the chart. I mean, when it comes to this.
exactly, yeah. So I can relate to you, Chandra, for sure. And it's a challenge for me because for many years I'm on this, you know, I know a lot of stuff. And now today I am embarrassed of the amount of knowledge of the Bible that I have because of so little I do with it. And it burdens my heart sometimes because I do have a tremendous amount of knowledge, but I do very little with it. That's another reason why I'm wanting to teach, because I want to be able to speak the word to people without this burden of embarrassment.
You know what? And see, just so you know, I don't mean to like make you feel. I totally don't want you to feel burdened whatsoever. But my fear, okay, even though John keeps telling us to preach to our hamster or whatever, or dog, but okay, so he understands what kind of fear that people like me might have then. But that is my fear as far as me not having, even though it's like I've heard, I've listened, I've learned, but is it going to come out my mouth the same way if I were to just do it on the fly and talk to somebody about it? No. All I can, so that's what stopped my fear. That's how my fear stops me, is because I don't want to like sound like an idiot if I try to tell them something and then I don't know exactly how exactly it's put or how exactly John put it or how exactly to explain it. All I know is that I listened to it and there was nothing that I could see to refute it, and it totally made sense, but I can't repeat it. Like, I just don't have that good of a memory right now. It's not, that's not there for me. But if you have the memory and you can say it, then, I mean, I just want to encourage you. I don't want to make you feel burdened that you're not doing anything, or you are doing something with it, but I just want to encourage you even more. How about that? Because
Thank you.
if you
I
got
need
it, then
Yeah.
flaunt it. Like, you work it.
Rah, you're my cheering section. Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, exactly. Rah, 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 But
Sometimes I think I need to have somebody to cheer me on, because it's
Ronita was, she was making me feel a little better. She was like, she was saying, Ronita, she's in the community, and I'm kind of just starting to talk to her a little bit more lately, so it's pretty cool, and she gave me a call, and it was great. She just inspired me. She's just kind of like, you may not be able to do this or that, but you're living your life. She has that sassy attitude, talk kind of thing, and, you live in your life, and you live your life as a testimony, and that's preaching the word like that. And like you're shining a light, you're being shining, and it was, I don't know. See, I can't even repeat everything she just said, but it was just really nice, and it encouraged me and made me feel less bad myself for not working at it as much as I could be, as far as teaching and all that kind of stuff. Because I would love to teach, actually. That's something I would really, really enjoy. I would enjoy doing that. Yeah, but I guess it's that perfectionism, right? Like, if you're going to teach something, I would like to actually know how to bring it out before teaching it. So until then, I'm just going to have fun listening to you guys and just soaking it up as much as possible in the meantime. So, and then acting as I'm learning, doing the best I can, witnessing that way.
It's like baking a cake. You want to know? It's like baking a cake. You want to know by experience how the cake's going to turn out, and then you can teach somebody how to do it. Because you've done it. Right?
Well, hey, I've done it. Well, I'm at the level where, I've made a cake. I've baked a cake. But can I tell somebody, this is how bad I am with my memory, can I tell somebody all the ingredients that I just used to bake the cake? No, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know. Maybe by now I can be like, okay, the oil, the eggs, what I mean?
That's why the recipe's written down. That's why the Bible's written down.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, Don, if I just get to read a chapter, just by reading, and I want all of us just to read a chapter, and that's it. Like, that's what I'll do. let's just read a chapter. But
in college, and
that's
I
where
got
we all
into the
started.
In college, when I got into the Word, we were a tight-knit group. We met every day, a couple times a day. We feels whenever people could get together, we were together all the time. Half the time we just read stuff. We'd read the Bible, read this chapter, and then we'd all say, "Love you, see you later," and then we'd get together and we'd read another chapter. We'd do stuff like that all the time. Every once in a while, somebody would teach something, but we read.
The very first teaching I ever did. I memorized this chapter in one of the books called Your Power of Attorney. I memorized the chapter and just quoted the book.
That's how you start out. You start out by being an imitator of somebody that already does it.
Exactly.
I mean, even that's what
what
that
we
sounds
teach here, I could
familiar.
never have taught.
That sounds familiar. Your power of attorney. Was that Dr. Rural?
Right. Yes, it's
Okay.
one of the book chapters in one of the books. I don't recall which
Okay.
book or
I think that's a blue book.
which book it was in, but probably that's usually where we tell people to start from, and that's probably what they told me. Start with the blue book.
Mm-hmm.
The home economic book. The Bible tells me so.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Something else came up about when Alan was talking about his humility and the things he's learning. It reminded me of a quote from Warwell that he said that it broadened my mind. And he said it kind of in a cocky way when he said it. But he said, just as soon as I think I got something figured out, God goes and screws me up again. I mean, that's a quote. That's exactly what he said. It was that typos. It typed that thing in my head, and I thought, wow, I want to be there. I want to be where I think I got something figured out, and God comes along and screws me up. I like that.
I do. I like that too.
Mhm.
That's awesome. If only all Christians had that attitude, though. Okay, just the even possibility that God could come along and screw things up, or change things up. It's like, yeah, some people just can't even fathom. You know what I mean? Like, I know what I know, and I know it's right, and that's all there is to it. And you can't, you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah, you need to read the book of Job.
Yeah.
God set him straight.
Yeah.
Where were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin, you have what we had the night that Don taught the cry of triumph. And he said, look, I'd rather be right with the word than just stand my ground on this teaching.
Right.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's the attitude you have to develop, because as soon as Mike's right, as soon as you think you know something, God's going to come along and screw you up and give you some more information.
Mhm.
That's
well,
right.
man, so what if, okay. I mean, come on. This is just fun, a fun hypothetical situation here. What if God comes around and shows some light and shows that something was wrong in One Day with the Creator? Boy.
It's gonna happen. I
Already
can almost bet money it's gonna happen.
You want my list?
Your list? But yeah, I mean, how's that gonna work? It's like,
The thing that we've got to remember is that 2 Timothy 2:15. If we tend to exalt what we think, it's to God where we either stand approved or unapproved. In everything, our whole inventory of believing, we either stand approved or unapproved, and there's no in between on it. And I am responsible, only myself, to God Almighty, to rightly divide the word of truth. And if I am in error, I can't blame it on TLTF. I'm responsible for it.
You're going to stand before the Lord, and you're going to be rewarded for the work that stands, and that work's going to be in truth. And you're going to suffer loss. You're going to have to lose the things that you are lying to yourself about or that don't understand, because Jesus Christ is going to present a perfect church to God. There's going to be a purging going on with all of us, one way or another.
It's like Mike was talking about with that last teaching of his, progressive revelation. I mean, tomorrow I may know more than I know today about any given subject. Choose a subject. Joshua. Maybe tomorrow God will open up my eyes to something more about Joshua than I'm seeing today. We don't level out and plateau. We're always trying to increase that knowledge and keep going up and getting it closer and closer to the what the Word says, and it's not something you get all at once. It's built. It's practice. You go in, you study the Word, you try and operate what you know, and God will give you more, and it just keeps increasing.
And it's also it can't remove the heart of it either. It's the relationship. The relationship that we have here around the Word is reflective of the relationship that every individual has with the Lord Jesus Christ. And that relationship is reflected of your relationship with God. And God looks on the heart. He's not looking to see that we're right all the time. He's looking to see, do we want to be? Do we want the truth? Do we want His heart? Because His heart is truth. His heart is what He is. I mean, His heart is love. The truth of love, not some fabricated thing that man wants to make it. But the heart behind the issue is how we treat each other, and the reasoning of the truth of the way God has designed things and desires things to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Where is that applause at? How do you get to that thing?
Move your cursor to the
Don't give it
left.
to him. He'll be a Frankenstein.
We've all been there.
Where is that at?
Move your cursor to the left side
Google
and
Effects?
and it'll show up. Yeah, from the Google Effects.
Specs.
Oh, we must have found it.
Okay, it's downloading an app.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
That's great.
Oh,
I gotta go to bed, guys. I love you guys with all my heart.
I love you
Okay,
too.
yeah.
Love you too.
All right, good
Good
night.
night, everybody.
all right. Good night, y'all. It's been a pleasure hanging out